Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Real Talk Lounge. I'm Eva from Evaverse, and we have someone beautiful joining us today again.
I'm Roxy from Roxy So Free.
So, today we're going to continue on, or just give you a recap of what we talked about yesterday, which was Harry's new book release. So, yesterday we talked about it potentially releasing, or it was scheduled to release for the day after, which is today. Now that's happened. Actually, sorry, yesterday.
Yes,
It was
the
released
book did
yesterday.
release yesterday. Yes.
Yes, sorry. So I mean, this you might be watching this in future. Yesterday, today might be all the same, nonetheless. So it was released on January 10th. Okay, so what do we have about it? What
Well,
do you think, Roxy? What did you hear?
I didn't think it was going to do as well as it did, but apparently it sold 400,000 copies in the UK in its first day across all formats. It's the number one book on Amazon in Canada and the US. So apparently people are buying it and people are reading it. Obviously, with some positive reviews, there is also negative reviews. And I've taken a look at both, and I can say this: I'm so over it. I'm so over it. I used to be, let me tell you, I used to be Team Harry, right? I was kind of like, oh yeah, they all suck.
I
The royal
remember.
family sucks. And the more that I hear and the more that comes out, I'm like, like, ugh, dude, have several seats. Just sit.
I remember. I remember the first time we talked about the topic, and you were all like giving him the benefit of the doubt, and he's a poor little soul who suffered the loss of his mother, which is tragic. Though I'm not trying to undermine that, but
Yeah,
he
and
he
he
was kind of
is
using that as a
he's
sort of
milking that
crutch.
like he's milking that like crazy. I
Well,
mean, I took a look at a couple passages from this book. I can't it was torturous. It was torturous to even read the little bit that I did read. It was just the writing was so flowery and fluffy. And I mean, obviously he had a
yeah,
ghostwriter. He didn't sit there and pen it himself, by candlelight.
right, right.
um but just the way that it's written, it's on the positive side. The positive reviews are like, oh, it's so beautifully written. I'm so happy to be able to hear the story from Harry's side, the true inside story. But there's a lot of beating up of the royal family that's going on. And a lot of it just
Mhm.
seems like, regular sibling rivalry. Like, I mean, you and I have both gone to school with siblings, right? And when we go to school with our siblings, sometimes we're like, don't talk to me, pretend you don't know me. That made it into the book, him and that little exchange between him and Harry when they finally got to
Like
the
the
same.
mundane, right?
Yeah, like it's not it's
So much for salacious is more mundane. Like, okay, everybody has that.
yeah, and it's like every other line he's mentioning about how his mother's gone and his mother's not here. And yes, we're sorry for you, we're sorry for your loss. And quite honestly, she was something to a lot of people in this world. A lot of people were touched by her. But he has deep trauma. He's done therapy. He needs more. I'm not trying to sound judgy, but I mean, dude, 4 book deal. Oh, I
I
can't
said
even.
it. I called it too. I said the same thing, if you recall, that this boy
Yeah.
needs more therapy. He needs professional help more than anything else. So I'm glad that we have you on the team finally, and now you see why
No, but
I don't
do
want to
you
call it
see
hate,
though?
but the
This is
criticism is justified.
Right, but this is important, why it is important to give people the benefit of the doubt, right? So it's like, okay, you know what, Harry, we're going to give you a little bit of rope and you can do with it what you will. And he did exactly what he wanted to do with that rope. Um, one of the
Play a
things that
professional victim.
yeah, exactly. And that's what it comes across as. And one of the things that another person has observed in Harry's book is that Meghan seems to throw herself on the floor and cry a lot for an adult woman. Everything that happens, she's on the floor. She's on
Well,
the
maybe
floor
that's just like
sobbing.
that she's channeling her inner 2-year-old tantrum.
Maybe, like Oh my God, you won't believe what Kate said to me about Charlotte's um bridal gown or whatever, the little flower girl gown. It doesn't fit. Oh, she's on the floor sobbing about it because she's dealing with so much stuff, you know? Prince Harry and his brother had a conversation on phone. I guess they were having a loud conversation because it wasn't on speakerphone. And she came in the room and overheard. You know when somebody's talking loud on the phone, you could hear the other end.
Right.
Yeah, she came in the room and she observed it. Tears started to run, and she held her pregnant belly and fell to the floor. Yeah,
She's actress after all, right?
I
So I
know
mean, what do you expect?
that's
You
probably
know,
what it
from actress,
is.
what do you expect other than acting, right? So I mean, what can I say?
You
Oh,
know,
speaking of the copies too, like how many copies this book sold? I read that it was like on par with like the other Harry books
the
of the
other hand.
Potter variety.
Oh, Harry Potter. You know what?
Can you
I
believe
actually
that?
did hear that too. Yes, I heard that too. They said the
I'm
only
like,
Harry book that sold more is the Harry Potter book.
right, and I'm just like, what? How is that even like comparable? Like, I'm sorry, like, oh, anyway,
You know
just thought
why?
I'd put that in that.
Wait. I have a good one. You know how it's comparable? Because they're both great works of fiction. Mic drop.
Well, I thought it was just because they're both like have Harry in it, you know. That's what I
No,
said. The other Harry book.
no,
So,
no, no.
oh
No.
wow.
I mean, I
Well, I'm surprised too how well it did. I was not expecting, but you know what? This says one thing, and it says it very loud and clear. Money talks, and the PR machine is well oiled.
yeah, you know what? It's well, as we alluded to in a previous live, it's that people want to see the inside story. You know, like this is why like the Real Housewives and those kinds of shows do so well, because initially the premise was, you know, these are things that happen behind closed doors, behind gates and whatnot, and we want to peek inside. We're the common folk. We want to
Mhm.
see how the royals really interact with each other. What really happened with this?
Yeah.
Was it really the queen that was behind Diana's death? You know, like what was the reaction to this and what was the reaction to that, and the prince, now king, has a mistress, and you know, how did that all happen and what was it? So I mean, this is what people are looking to see. People are looking to see. And you know what, the Meghan and Kate drama, people want to see what's the inside scoop on that too, because the royal family, as I said before, their mystique is the fact that they don't speak to people, which I mean, I don't know how true that is. I mean,
Yes.
Diana did a book and that sold tons.
I was
Um,
actually thinking about the comparison there too. I'm like, why was it more okay when she did it? Like, I thought it was, I like Dan and everything, and I don't want to speak ill of the dead, but I do think in some way it was also in poor taste for her to like kind of tell all with everything that she did, at that time.
yeah, but she probably did it for the same reasons he did, you know, like there was a narrative about her and she needed to explain it, you know, she needed to get her
Mhm.
side told. And you know, actually there's one thing that there is a similarity. And again, I don't know if this is contrived because it's Megan, but at one point, Diana, when she was pregnant with one of the boys, she
Mhm.
threatened to throw herself down the stairs, right? And kill herself
There we
and kill
go,
her.
throwing on the floor again.
Right. But that was Diana. That was Diana. That
Oh,
wasn't
oh,
Megan.
I'm just going with the theme, I guess. That's the overlap, right? People
Well, this is
just
where I'm going with it. This is what
end
I'm
up on the
saying. Like,
floor.
maybe this is why, like, because I mean, Megan with her pregnant belly is going like, I don't want to live anymore, I don't want to live anymore, I'm just gonna. So I mean, not to take away from someone's pain, right? Diana probably was really experiencing a lot of pain, because I mean, you think about it, you've got this husband who you're married to, you're betrothed to, and it's a king, or no, it's a prince, it's royal, it's like a fairy tale, you know, like you've been, as a child, groomed to grow up and think that, you know, marrying a Prince Charming is your happy ending. So she's living it. But then the reality is it sucks. He doesn't actually love her. He loves somebody else. You know, nobody's on her side. Her story's not being told. Everybody's ignoring her and telling her, well, suck it up, you know? And then we've got
Yeah.
now Megan, and Megan's going through the same situation. You know, she's like thinking that it's a fairy tale, and it's not, because there's all these people saying this about her and people saying that about her. So both of them are like, well, why don't we just, you know, I'm sorry to be so blasé about it, but I don't know if, as I said, I don't know if it's contrived, but it seems like there's a lot of gaslighting going on in that relationship.
Oh, well, I mean, you know what when you draw those comparisons, of the few things that stick out to me is, one is, first of all, I want Harry and Meghan to take a seat. And I'll tell you why.
Several.
First of all, oh yeah, I have several, have a few benches or pews or whatever,
Have a whole
you want to
banquet.
take. But there we go, like a 500 seater at least. So, first of all, Princess Diana was basically, her husband was going to be second in line to the throne. Not her husband, was it? Her, yeah, her husband. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow,
Princess
I'm
Diana,
losing my mind.
Lady Di.
Yeah. So first of all, she had a higher ranking, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that would be equivalent of Kate. Would it not be the equivalent of Kate?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So now the similarities are there. Now pay attention here for a second. The Kate actually had her husband have an affair. Legit. It's been publicized. He cheated on her.
Really? I didn't know
Yes.
that.
Yes.
How come he didn't do a book about
Unless
it?
I'm wrong, I read it somewhere that he did have an affair. And look at the way she handled it. You don't really, a lot of people don't even know about it. So
Yeah.
unless I'm wrong, okay. So right there, that's the similarities. Is that she's in the same, as far as the royal like line of succession is concerned. She's the equivalent of it, and she's
Mhm.
also actually has a cheating husband. Okay, Meghan has neither of those things.
Mm-hmm.
Harry has neither of those things going on.
Yeah.
So let me again say, take a few seats. And when you say gaslighting, I agree with that point, because that's really what it is at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And it's that instead of them taking accountability, owning up to their he's claiming he's owning up to it, but everything he's owning up to, he's really justifying. Really, at this point, they've lost me. I mean,
Yeah,
they have.
no, for sure.
I mean,
And you know what? I think the hot book sales right now, I think as people start to read it and more people start to hear reviews, because there are some people who are not going to have the time, because I'm sorry, the price for just like the audiobook, I don't know if it's being read in his voice, which maybe, who knows, that's an extra paycheck there. But I mean, to read 360 pages. Oh, do you know what one review said? Save
and there's 3
yourself.
more books coming, supposedly.
I know, but listen to this. One reviewer said, buy yourself a bottle of wine instead of reading a whole book about one big wine.
Yeah, I haven't read the book myself, but I could only assume I'd rather do that too. I
Yeah,
mean, I think
I know.
that's a solid advice.
Cheers.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
and maybe he should have a bottle of John, some of his stories, instead of airing it out in public. That might be a better
oh
option too.
God.
Well, I'm
No,
not actually, scratch that. I'm not promoting drinking. Please, that was a joke.
yeah,
So,
obs. It was a joke. But no, in general, I think, dude, you've done I'm sure that there's something else in the works that we don't even know about, that's probably going to be coming out in the next month or two, because you know Daddy's coronation is coming up in November, and we can't have the limelight away from Harry and his wife, you know, the little limelight stealer. I am starting to like really be anti Meghan now. I didn't care, but I'm anti Meghan, and I'm getting over to the anti Harry side too.
oh yeah. Well, I think the next salacious details we're gonna get from the up and coming books is maybe how, the babies had a little throw up, during I don't know, then when they were wearing a nice outfit. That's how salacious it's gonna be.
Yeah, or you know, print
And
was
and
it
and Kate
Little
recommended
Archie
like
had a
a
blowout.
yeah, something like that. Or they got into a tiff over the brand of diapers they were using.
I know. Oh, there was no
Kate and
more
Megan, now I can't
Pampers,
find
so they bought a no name,
Huggies.
an off brand, a store brand.
Yeah,
Oh my!
yeah. It's like,
But
no
I
way.
think we've run out of runway, with this story. I don't think that anybody really wants to hear any more about it. It's anybody who has any sort of interest in it. you're going to hear all kinds of just like, so
Yeah.
how about if we go on to our next topic, which is the Golden Globes. They are back from being on hiatus due to controversy.
Yeah.
So,
I
token black.
heard, yeah.
So here's how token black they are, that they got a black host who really ripped into them. And he made it very well known that he felt like they only approached him because of the fact that he was black, and that he pretty much only did it for the money.
Don't you love it when they pay people to take things at them?
Do you
Like
know
you
what's
say, you
funny?
got paid $500,000 for that for that much money. You're paying your enemy to shoot you in the foot.
Yeah,
It's too
just
funny.
crap all over you. But you know what? They talked
Yeah.
to I don't know, he's somebody high up in the organization. And they asked him, you know, you guys hired this guy. Did you know he was gonna say all the stuff that he did? And he's like, well, you know, we didn't really have too much dealings with the artists themselves other than to like hire them. So
There you go.
he didn't know. And you know what? I'm sure he's got it. Everybody who is associated with that organization has to have some feelings about it, because you can't, I mean, whether it's true or not, you're hired to do a job and you come in there and you just crap all over everybody. It can't feel good.
Yeah.
So,
I thought it was like, in a way, it was tasteless in that regard, you know, like
yeah.
it wasn't like, I don't know, might be a bad comparison, but I remember when Stephen Colbert
Mhm.
roasted Bush. But he roasted him, but it was actually funny and it was in good humor, and Bush didn't even realize it until like a few minutes into it when he clued in that he was being roasted.
Do you
That
know
was
what?
the day where I gained a whole lot of respect for Colbert. I'm like, that guy has cojones.
Well, I think totally off topic, but I think there was one maybe it was during Trump when they had the White House gala or the press dinner or whatever it was. And I think there was a comedian who did the same thing to Trump. And initially he didn't realize it either, but he took great pride in the fact that he was the one chosen to do this, and he got the opportunity to crap all over him. But going back to this guy, I actually heard like snippets of his speech and his opening act, and I didn't even find him humorous, right? He just seemed like he had a bone to pick with them. Um,
Yeah.
so it wasn't even well played, like it wasn't
That's what I
like,
mean, like in bad taste. I agree. He had an opportunity if that's the direction he wanted to go, and I just
Mhm.
feel like he missed the mark.
Yeah, completely. Like I get where he was going, and I understand the point, and I understand the hard feelings behind it. But I don't.
Yeah.
It just was poorly executed. Then the other thing that I want to, and this is going to be a little bit controversial. So there, one
That's
of
what
the
we're here for.
Yeah, I know, right? So one of the reasons that the Golden Globes had been called out, I mean, there were many, but let's focus on the lack of diversity, right?
Right.
Lack of diversity to me means that there's a lack of different types of people, right? But somehow the narrative is it's all white, there's no black. And that's kind of where this opening, I'm not sure what the guy's name is. I'm sorry. I don't know him at all. I don't know who he is or where he's from or whatever. But that seemed to be like,
I'll link it all below for everybody if you're interested.
mm-hmm. So that was like the beef, it seems like, because it's not black, that means it's not diverse, right? I don't know who's on it, but I mean, if there was somebody of South Asian descent, if there was somebody of Asian descent, if there was, somebody of like different nations, does that then count as diversity? Because for even the award winners, there was that first guy who won. He was of Asian descent. There was another woman. There was Angela Bassett for Wakanda Forever. I mean, there was diversity in some of the people that were winning, but it almost seems like because it was minimally black, it's discounted. am I maybe wrong in my thinking, or is there maybe
Well,
something to that?
I think some of the controversy had to do with the actual members on their board,
Yes.
that they
Right.
didn't have any.
But here's the
But
thing too, with the board members now, they say, oh, well, there's 6 Black board members, and they took the time to mention that there's 6 Black board members. Okay, so again, we're
right.
taking it back to like, okay, well, of the
So
remaining,
is diversity only black and white? That's it, right?
like how many of these account for like are women? How many are differently abled? Like to me, all of those things say diversity, not just
Exactly.
how many Black people, how versus
Yeah.
how many white people. The world is not like that. The world is
No. I mean,
lots of different
with
people.
everything, I mean, it's all about the shades of gray in between, right?
Right. Speaking of shades of gray, did you check out some of the fashions? Isn't
Oh my goodness.
there were some
Yeah, I
definite
saw.
hits, there were some definite hits and misses.
Yeah. Yeah, I did. I saw a few of them. What was his name? He was wearing that big gown. It was really extra. It was really out there.
It was extra, but you know
Um,
what? I liked it. Like when you put all the pieces together with the flowy thing, it was very princessy. I liked it. Do you know who?
yeah, I
I
mean,
I, I
well,
don't
it was
remember.
better pulled off than remember we talked about the what was it? The sequined jumpsuit.
Yes.
Uh, that he wore. That what was it? Sam that wore. He wore it on at the concert.
Yes.
Like that didn't work. He didn't pull it off. Where this one he did. He brought the A game with it. I guess you
He
know.
brought the thunder. Yeah, no, for sure. The
Yeah.
the color was really nice. It was rich and like it, and also too, I think there was a little bit of swag with it. When you're there like this and you're modeling it and whatever. Like there was again, but Sam was also confident. But no, this one it was cut
No, but it was
well.
the fit. It was the whole thing. It was the
Yeah,
whole look. You know what I mean? It wasn't just
yeah,
like, oh, I'm just putting something on and I'm feeling myself. It was
yeah,
like, it was like almost like a curated sort of look. You know that it was,
yeah. No, it
it
was
was styled. I
definitely
guess is what I'm trying to say.
yeah, and it was definitely like ballroom fabulous. It was awesome. I did like that one. Um, I saw Donald Glover. I think he was wearing Versace, maybe. I didn't like his. It was like a it was like a white karate suit with a
Hmm.
black blazer over it. And I was just like, and if we're going back to it again, it's a cut thing. It just looked like baggy pajama looking stuff with a just throw a blazer over it and we're going to an award
Yeah.
show. I mean, I know some of this stuff is supposed to be cutting edge and avant-garde and whatnot, but I mean, there's so
I don't
many
know.
hits.
Whatever I saw, like that was going on for fashion, there was
Mhm.
more references made to the soggy gray carpet as
Yes,
opposed to
because
red carpet than to actual fashions.
a lot of the women, the bottom of their dresses were like different color because of the wetness that was getting absorbed into the bottom of their clothes.
Yeah.
And I was thinking to myself, like, wow, can you imagine how much thousands of dollars you're wearing, and the bottom of all of it is just to shit. It's just all
Yeah.
wet and soggy. And even that fabulous red pantsuit gown probably was all soggy and disgusting at the bottom of that one too.
Yeah.
And
Most
Viola
likely.
Davis, did you see her? Viola Davis was wearing a beautiful blue sleeveless sapphire dress. It was all snatched. She was looking so good.
Well, she's a beautiful woman to begin with,
Oh,
right?
she
So I mean,
gorgeous.
so
And then,
it's some women they just have that it factor where it doesn't matter what they wear, they're gonna look good, right? So
yeah. Do you know what though? Believe it or not, Seth Rogen was there. And I didn't even really recognize him. He was so well put together. The only thing that I have to say is that he was wearing a salmon colored tuxedo. And do you know who he looked like? The feel of it. The feel of the tuxedo was like, the two guys in Dumb and Dumber, where they go to that
yeah.
party and they're wearing the blue suit and the orange suit. That's what it kind of felt like. But
I didn't
I
see this picture. I missed this one.
yeah, no. That was the vibe it was giving, right? But
Oh
I will
wow.
say on him, he pulled it off. He really did it. He looked really good in his salmon colored tuxedo. He looked good. But I will say the one person that I was disappointed in is Julia Garner, right? She's the chick from Ozarks. You know who I'm talking about, Ruth?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a really, oh my gosh, she's such a beautiful woman, right? And out of everything she could have worn, I just felt like her dress was just not what it could have been, you know? It
She's a different
it
stylist, maybe.
there we are back to those people needing no, you know what? The top of it wasn't bad. It was just like a heart-shaped neckline, had some beading and jewel work on it, but the bottom was like a weird, those fake flowers from back in like the 90s or something that are made out of like stockings. The bottom of her dress looked like that, and it was just,
Hmm.
yeah, it just no
Well,
no
apparently
cohesion.
flowers are one of the things that they're predicting to be on trend for 2023. Those
Great. So
and
maybe
those
so
especially
maybe
those
Kim
roses, the ones that look
Kardashian.
like that have been sat on.
Oh, well, what
Like,
I was gonna say, maybe Kim Kardashian could recycle that hideous flower dress that she had when she was pregnant. She could like cut it up and make it fit
oh
her new tight body, and she could wear that because flowers are
yeah,
gonna be the so
wow, yeah, she's looking very different. That's for sure.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
actually speaking of, maybe I guess none of her old wardrobe will be fitting her. Everything will have to be taken in, or everything is
I'm
gonna be
sure
going
she's
on that.
happy to hear
What is it?
that.
Yeah, unless she puts anything back on, then she's anyway. Not that she's got those worries. She's got enough money,
Yeah, she could get
right?
it all. She
So
could get it all sucked back out.
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So, anything else you want to say about the
Yeah,
Golden
so I mean, I would so back to the Golden Globes. One of the things that I was surprised about is how they were on a hiatus last year, and this was them coming back, and this is how they did it. You think they'd be a little bit more prepared and do a little bit more due diligence, with who they're hiring to do their hosting and everything like that. So
Well, do you
they
think
didn't.
that
They had
there's a
the time to do it,
possibility?
right?
Do you think there's a possibility that because of the controversy with the Golden Globes, they might have approached a lot of people and they said, I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole? Because if you think about it, they had to offer somebody $500,000 to host this thing. I mean, I
Mhm.
don't know what the going rate is, but to me, that sounds like a lot of money for somebody who's not like a super well known name,
Right.
you
Yeah, but I
know?
mean, I don't know. They could have hired then if we're talking about diversity in their eyes is black and white, then they could have hired somebody maybe Asian. That would have been a safe one, right?
Right. But
I
who,
mean,
who
for
would
the
they have gotten?
controversy.
Maybe Hassan
I
Minaj or like
I don't know.
Elijah or like there's
Or
lots of,
maybe they tried, but everybody turned it down. Who knows?
and this is what I'm saying. Like, I mean, they probably, considering that they're now getting back into network television, um, maybe they just didn't have the budget to go as high as they wanted. I mean, Ricky Gervais did it for a long time. He might not have been the best choice now, given the fact that he's a white man, but who knows what his price would have been, you know?
Right. Well, I mean, the thing is that the fact that they didn't go live last year, they refused to, and this year they went. You think they would have had ample opportunity and time to actually deliver something good then, So it's I don't know. I'm not in that business. I don't know the ins and outs, but I could only imagine that whoever was in charge kind of dropped the ball there.
Well, I think it's, you know what? I don't even think that a lot of people put a lot of stock into these award shows anymore. I mean, I know I don't really watch them. It could be a lot of things. It could be the fact that a lot of people have cut the cable, they've cut the cord on that. And the other thing too is that really and truly when it comes down to it, who makes these decisions, right? Like if you've watched a movie and you're like, wow, that movie is so good, or this person is such a good actor or actress. And sometimes when you see these lists of who's been nominated and who the best actress or best actor or best supporter, all of that stuff comes out. The list sometimes doesn't make sense, right? So it
Yeah.
does beg the question, who is making these decisions and how in touch with the viewing public are they?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the Oscars has been criticized for the same thing, right? Like for
Oscar is so
favoritism and
white,
for
hashtag.
yeah. There was something else too. Oh yeah, there was something interesting too about the Golden Globes this year is how everybody was making comments about how their speeches were being cut short because of the piano.
One lady threatened to beat up the pianist.
Yeah, and then she had to go on Twitter saying it's not me. I wasn't the one. Like it was not programmed. She's like the only time I was actually like the piano. I was actually playing piano was when the camera was on me. Otherwise, it was all like pre-loaded stuff, and you know,
Yeah, I think she was just a prop.
Yeah, exactly. So it was just, people were like, you know, getting up in arms that they're not finishing their speeches. So, I mean, can you
Well, I mean,
imagine?
if
Like,
you think about it, right? Like your moment comes, right? In some cases, some of these people are winning these awards for the first time, right? You're going up on stage to collect this award. You're nervous. You're trying to think, okay, I got to thank this person, this person, this person. You're trying to get everything in. And as you're in the middle of talking, somebody starts tinkling, ting, 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 and giving you indication that you should be wrapping it up. And you're like, but wait, I didn't. And when you're talking, that 1 minute goes really, really quickly when you're trying to get everything out. And in that minute, like, does that also include their walk up to the stage?
I
You
don't
know?
know, but the best part was Eddie Murphy. Did you see what he did?
Oh, his speech was awesome. First of all, big up to Eddy Murphy for your Lifetime Achievement Award. You really do deserve it. You've done a lot.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And then I love how he actually said, I'm gonna get ahead of this game before the piano starts. And and then the whole Will Smith comment.
You know
Will
what?
Smith's wife.
That is a true like professional genius. I don't know if he had a speechwriter, but props to that speechwriter too. That was
Yeah.
just like so well timed, like comedic timing,
Like
and it
your
was like
wife
just a
said,
mic
I'm not
drop
alive.
moment.
That's a good advice, right?
Yeah,
to go achieve in life is what not to do, right?
yeah, exactly. Because you know what, he was there. He said some stuff. He didn't get assaulted, right? So is that our goals
Yeah.
in life? Pay our taxes and don't get assaulted.
And don't get the piano playing to get you off the stage before your speech is up.
Yeah, say what you need to
So
say.
say
Well, I mean,
quick, spit it out.
yeah, you know what? It's good. He did win a good award. His speech was phenomenal. I think it was the talk of the town. The other talk of the town was Jennifer Coolidge. She's amazing. She's so funny. She seems so personable, you know. But I mean, you could tell that there was a lot of nerves going on with her.
Yeah, I think for a few people on stage, that I read quite a bit about it too. Like people were nervous. It
Yeah.
wasn't organic, unfortunately. You know, so maybe next year will be better. You know, but this one was.
Well, we're at the beginning of award season. We've still got, you know, Oscars and Tonys and Emmys and Soul Train and hip hop, and you know there's tons of CMAs if you're into that. You know, there's all these different shows that are going to be coming up, and hopefully they use it as some examples of what to do and what not to do. Get a good host who's not going to trash you, number one. And number
Yeah.
two,
Maybe have a live delay so you don't have anything to, you know, you don't have any slapping going around either. No assault.
I think they do have delays on most of these. I think it's usually 7 seconds though. Um,
Hmm.
and you know what's so sad actually? What's really, really sad is that slap thing happened, what, a year ago? And it's
Hmm.
still, I mean, at least at this awards show, that was like the only time that anybody brought it up. But I hope it doesn't continue to be a thing,
Like a
you
running
know?
theme. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I hope Eddie Murphy didn't set the stage and everybody's going to try to have their mic drop moment using Chris as their, because you know what? I like Chris. I think, but I don't know. Maybe if Chris writes a book, maybe I won't like him either.
Well, I mean, I do like the way Chris handled that. I'll say
Yeah.
that. I think that he was the bigger man about it.
Hmm.
He could have really been just, I don't know, like more reactive, I guess. But he de-escalated that the best he could at the time, and he was quick on his feet, and
Hmm.
kudos to him. And
Professional too, or
yeah, and you know what, Will Smith, that was just not
you know
cool,
what?
not cool
He's
at
an
all.
example. He's another example of, as, and I believe you've said this before too, like a Harry and Meghan situation where you've got this woman who's just got the wool completely pulled over your eyes. And in your mind,
Yeah.
she needs protecting when quite honestly, they're the ones that, you should be protected from that woman, you know?
Yeah, yeah, they just talk that she's manipulating that and has him under her thumb 100%. So, I mean, we don't live, in their shoes, and we don't live their lives, right? But I mean, usually when they say that if there's smoke, there's fire, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, same
Well,
thing. You didn't believe everything about Meghan and Harry, and then you started doing some digging, and then you saw, oh, okay, now it's coming together, and why the hate train, it might be,
you
being
know
boarded
what?
as often as it was by
In
people,
the
right?
Harry and Meghan situation, if they hadn't said anything, they could have been fine. Like I'm sure they still would have had more sympathy. They would have had more people on their side, but it's the fact that they just can't keep their mouth shut. Just like talk, 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 talk about stuff that ends up being petty bullcrap that should have just stayed under the rug.
And tone deaf. A lot of it is tone deaf. Like, it's
Oh
just,
yeah.
they're not realizing, like, you crying about your problems when you have people who are going through, like, real struggles.
Yep. Can't
So
pay
I
my rent.
mean,
Can't afford food, getting my lights turned off. Like there's a lot
yeah,
of people. I've heard this will be probably a good other topic, but there's probably going to be a lot of people defaulting on their mortgages this year because of rising interest rates. There's going to be a lot of people defaulting on all kinds of loans because of rising interest rates across the globe. But yeah, no, let's cry
yeah,
because Kate wouldn't share her lip gloss without being a little bit resentful about it. Or let's cry and throw
yeah,
ourselves on the floor and weep because Kate insisted on having the flower girl dress remade. Like
yeah.
come on, buddy.
Yeah, so it's, when you were saying earlier that people want to get a glimpse into the lives of the royals, I think
Mhm.
they might be getting a glimpse on the other side of it too, like just the that entitlement, and how far removed they are from everyday people's lives and struggles, so that
Do you know
they're
what
gonna
though?
have.
Surprising about it is the fact, okay, Harry, you've gone all over the world, right? You've seen people, you fought in war, you've gone to impoverished places and seen the struggles that people have. You have an
Yeah,
Invictus game to help people or to bring awareness to people with disabilities. You are an advocate for some of these things. So I'm surprised that he would be so tone deaf.
yeah. Well,
So
again, I think it goes back to the whole, like, Jada Pinkett Smith and Will scenarios, that you got that balance of control from the other side, where it seems like the women in those relationships are controlling things and manipulating things to their view of the world, and their perspective, and not necessarily the right perspective, or
mhm.
his perspective, because really, in this case too, like, what is Harry's losing way more than she is. He's losing
His entire
well, his,
family.
like, his family, his legacy. Like, it's far greater of a sacrifice for him than what Megan's giving up, because it's not like Megan was a mega superstar when they got together or anything. Not that she is now, even.
No.
She was maybe a B class actress at best, and I think I'm being generous there.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, no, I think I think that if she was not Duchess of Sussex, she wouldn't nobody would know who she was. I mean, that maybe a couple people from a few of the titles that she's done, but other than
excuse me.
that, I think she wouldn't be the household name that she is now. And I don't know what more she wants. Like, just live life quietly, shut the hell up,
Yeah,
let your you know what, this is abusive, this is classic abuse. You isolate somebody from their family and you make them
yeah,
believe that like everything's messed up and you're the only friend that you can only count on me, you can only count on our children, you can't count on your family, you know. And quite honestly,
yeah.
Diana's
And then she does a
butler, oh,
triangulation too with this
Diana's,
family, right?
hold on, Diana's butler, right, who was very close to Diana, he actually gave an interview and he said, you know what, Harry, if your mom was alive and she saw what you were doing and what you were saying, she would be telling you, Harry, sit down and be quiet. Same thing like we're saying,
Yeah,
Harry, you don't have a mama, I'll go be your mama. Okay. Sit down
yeah,
and be quiet, boy. Sit down and be
yeah,
quiet. On that note,
yeah. Excuse me about the sneezing there. I think my allergies are acting up a little bit.
and it's not even spring.
No, so it's only gonna get worse. So, well,
On that note,
anything else you'd like to add to the topic for today?
no, I think we're running out of runway.
Okay, then. So, did you want to sign off
I think I will.
before I do the final?
Sorry.
You can go ahead and sign off so I can do the final.
Okay, yep, sure. Okay, so I'm just going to say thanks for having me. Thanks for having this chat with me and hope to chat again soon. Enjoy the rest of your day.
All right.
Bye.
Same to you, darling. It was a pleasure having you. All right, so I don't know what you guys think about Harry and the book. Do leave a comment below. We'd love to hear your opinions. And then tell us anything else about the Globe and Globes that you guys noticed that was, really interesting. Maybe something else about the fashion. Anybody agree, disagree on some of the looks that were going on? And then I guess that's it for today. Join us again. We'll be back soon with another topic, and then we can continue the fun. So thank you for stopping by, and we'll see you soon. Okay, ciao.